Hey, so I got this concept. If y'all saw the video, and I'm just gonna get right to what I want to talk about. But as y'all know, I've been trying to lose weight for like a long time, and now I lost 50 pounds doing this water fast. But I want to talk about something besides to lose weight because what comes with gaining a lot of weight for me is like you know if you gain as much weight as I gain, I was 335 pounds. And what comes with that is like a lot of knee pain, a lot of hip pain, a lot of pain. You know what I'm saying? And it comes to a point in like everybody's life, not just men or anybody that once they reach about get out of high school and testosterone or all that, you start reaching the end of your prime and everything. You start to lose, you start to gain weight and everything. You start to gain a lot of weight and shit. And so um and that's what happened to me. That's what's happening with everybody that reached like get out of high school, maybe about 25, 26, 27. Definitely when you reach your 30, you start to like gain a lot of weight and you just, for men, testosterone will start to drop and you don't really want to do as many things you once used to do. Like I used to play basketball. If I was never really into organized basketball. I tried to join a team. I just didn't make it, but I like to play street ball. And I wanted to be part of a street ball team anyway because, I like to do tricks and everything. That was back then. And then I like to play street football to where you could tackle on the streets. At least like on the sidewalk, you could tackle on the grass. I don't know what they might call it in your city, but I like to play pick 'em up, mess 'em up, where you just go around, on the grass, picking people up, throwing them to the ground, wrestling and stuff like that. I was really into that, but as you get grown and start to drift away from people and all that stuff, that shit really, it really is not really a thing no more because you got work, maybe you got kids, you got responsibilities, bills, all that stuff, and things like that. So and a lot of people, and I don't want to just regulate this towards men. Men go through it a lot more. I think a lot of people go through things and they pick up on therapy. Now I'm not trying to downplay therapy in no sense of the matter, because like I said, I took therapy and I gained a lot from it. I gained a lot from it, but I think therapy is like it has its limits. You know what I'm saying? As far as like fixing or helping what might be going on with a person, and one of the things like I'm losing weight right now, but I'm at the point where I can't really do too much because I've gained so much weight that it's impacting my pain in my body. But one of the things I really wanted to get into was what I like to call crash out action, which is basically like you know instead of just taking therapy is good, but a lot of people just take the therapy and go home and just marinate on the thoughts and their therapist told them or anything like that. But it's a lot of things that people be wanting to do that they feel like they can't do simply because they got work in the AM or whatever. They got kids and all these things. And I think like action is is like maybe better than therapy actually, because the therapy it'll give you some perspective, like because it's kind of hard to see, where our problems may be at until we see them from a different perspective of somebody who can objectively judge them. You know what I'm saying, or objectively criticize your perspective and things like that. So and from a friendly place, from a place of love. You know what I'm saying, and so. But it has its limits, you know what I'm saying? Because when you just go home and marinate on those thoughts, you're like, okay, I can change on this, maybe my attitude and things like that, and my belief system and things like that. But if you get a lot of therapy and you going through life and you just marinating on the thoughts and things like that, I don't really think you for lack of a better term, I don't really think you respected the perspective. You know what I'm saying? And so it might be a mental and like opinionated perspective on the therapist's opinion about you, but I think like crash out action is the probably might be the best way to manifest those things because a doctor will tell you, you need to lose weight, this, that, and the other, and things like that. But it's the actual losing of the weight that actually changes this and changes this, changes your whole inside being, your spiritual, your physical. It changes your whole mood. You know, you start to breathe better, you start to think clear. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to hear that you need to lose weight and all these things, but once you start doing those things, it really alleviates a lot of problems and things like that. So, and a lot of people got goals and objectives that they never really accomplish. Maybe you won't reach the height of what you want it to be. Like maybe you want to play basketball and you want to reach the league, which is a very you know, a gigantic goal and everything. But a lot of people don't reach that, even if they're able bodied, even if they go D1. Even D1 niggas don't even make it to the league. But you might be such a great basketball player that, you know what I'm saying, you could definitely be better than the most. And so crash out action is a chance to basically expose yourself to the world in which you start to experience a lot of things. You know, one of the things I wanted to do was like wrestle. Like, and I probably don't have the body for this because I don't know if niggas know this, but I had hip surgery when I was in the ninth or tenth grade, seventh, eighth or ninth grade, something like that. I had a hip surgery on one of my hips 1 year and the next one the next year, and so I might not be able to actually, you know what I'm saying, get in the ring and do things like that. But I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try. You know, I'm willing to get my body in shape. Maybe go to a backyard league or, I'm definitely not gonna make it to WWE. Definitely not. But that's not really the goal. That's not really the goal. The goal is the experience. The goal is the action. The goal is the journey. The goal is, just doing that. Another thing I wanted to do was go live the van life. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have a van just yet. I had a car, but my car broke down, so I just jumped it because it would have been too much to just fix it and just deal with that because the car already had a lot of problems when I bought it from the guy that sold it to me. It was a cool car, but it came with problems. So I just like crash out action, man, because like the action is gonna. I think the action is gonna do a lot more than the therapy. Like, I'm not trying to downplay therapy because it's good to have that perspective. It's good to have that perspective. It's good. Some therapists will work against you though. Like some therapists will tell you, you know, no, don't try to get rich. It's better to be a good person, and as if you're a bad person if you get rich or something like that. That's what one of my doctors told me. I'm like, I totally disagree with that. Just because you trying to get rich, or you got rich, don't mean you automatically a bad person. It's just this narrative that society puts on that type of thing, simply because I don't know. It's just easier to explain it that way. It's just easier to say, "Oh, he's a bad person. He cheated or she cheated and did all types of other things." Because why am I not rich? I was a good person. I worked hard. I went to college, and I'm not rich. Well, it just don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Getting rich is very hard. Trust me. I tried for 10 years. It's very fucking hard. It's one of the hardest things you ever do. And but I feel like crash out action. Another thing I wanted to do was learn how to use swords. Like I don't know who I could learn from without slicing my damn arm off. But you know what I'm saying? I want to learn how to use a sword, a katana, a Excalibur, something. You know what I'm saying? Just I want to learn how to. I wrote all this down, but I can't remember everything I wrote down. All thing I remember is going into like a backyard wrestling or something like that and using the sword. But whatever you want to do, you know what I'm saying? If you wanna fucking, I don't know, if you wanna go to a fight club, or you want to fucking whatever, you want to sprint until you can become an Olympian sprinter, or you want to start streaming on Twitch TV, or whatever you want to do. It's like the crash out action, because that's gonna really that's really gonna add value to you. It's gonna add value to your whole persona. You're gonna start to accumulate knowledge based on experience, and you can get a lot of knowledge from courses and things like that. But some of that stuff, It's like the experience is going to speak to you more than the actual course and things like that. I bought a bunch of courses, and some of that stuff work exactly to a T, and some of it just don't. Sometimes you just got to learn from your own experience. Sometimes you got to learn your own method, and by other people's methods that might not be your method. You know what I'm saying? It may not work for you and everything. So, um, I think crash out action, bro. Crash out action, whatever you want to do. If you want to fucking, you know, I don't know what niggas want to do, but it's basically like crash out on whatever you want to do. If you want to learn Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and maybe you get to the point you want to go to the Olympics. Maybe you get to the point you want to be in the UFC. If you want to do music, maybe you do some karaoke. Maybe you do some wedding shows. Maybe you do, some office shows until you start recording and you start. Maybe you go on the corner and, get a karaoke machine to start singing there or something. You know what I'm saying? Something just crash out, bro. Crash out on the action. You know what I'm saying? Whatever whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to do. If you want to get into some type of organized football, you may not even make the league. I ain't gonna lie, but no, if you strong enough and fast enough, and you building your athleticism and all that stuff, you can make it to somebody's league, somewhere. Maybe you can make it to the XFL. Maybe you can make it there. Or maybe you just want to learn a bunch of skills. Now, maybe you want to learn carpentry or trade or something like that. Crash out, bro. Crash out on the action. Like I said, the therapy, all that is cool. It's cool. And I don't mean to sound like a dead horse, beating this dead horse and everything. But crash out action, bro. That's when I'm starting. I'm 37. And I spent a lot of my time trading Forex just for that shit not to work. I hate Forex. You know what I'm saying? And people will say it's your fault you ain't making the Forex. You right. You right. You absolutely right. But in the end, I still gotta live my life. Fuck it, bro. I'm willing to take the L. At least I tried. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are not willing to take 10 years to just start a business just for it to fail. I was willing to take that action. That's crash out action. I did that shit. You know what I'm saying? And now it's time for me to move on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm going to start trying to do because um, no, I just want to experience more. And I think a lot of people should, instead of just staying in this rut about, oh, life is like capitalism and all those things, and podcasting about men and women. You could podcast about anything. The reason niggas podcast about men and women, it's a high demand subject and everything. So if you can find a way to make your subject matter the fucking shit in the marketplace, then do that. But crash out, bro. Crash out on that action and things like that. That's basically what the belief system I'm starting to cultivate and everything. But again, I can't do shit if I'm over fucking weight, and I need to lose a lot of weight to start to make my body stop hurting for no reason. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people get in their 30s and they start to become stagnant. They start to become lenient of what life's offering them and just take it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be one of these old motherfuckers that just, you know, always thinking about cutting grass and always thinking about going to work and work and shit like that. Or started, oh, I should go to school, I should go to trade, and all these things, and painting rocks and painting fences and things like that. Why don't you paint something you want to paint, nigga? Why don't you paint something you want to paint instead of painting, some bullshit that the neighbors you want to impress the neighbors you don't like. Everybody acting like they like each other. Low key, they talking about each other on you know what I'm saying, like bullshit like that. You know what I'm saying? Even if you want like, I ain't really trying to like. I used to be like I said, I was fat as hell. But even if you want to be a competitive eater, you want to eat 400 hot dogs and blow everybody else out the water. Crash the fuck out, bro. Crash the fuck out on that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a journalist, you want to be the best fucking journalist, and you got your own niche, you got a gimmick and all that shit, crash the fuck out, bro. Crash out action. Because you got too many things you've been wanting to do. You got too much shit you've been wanting to do. And you just ain't tackle that shit because you just, like, once you reach a certain age, you start letting life's responsibility kick you in your ass. You know what I'm saying? And it's been doing me like that too, to a level you would never understand. I would never tell, but it's been giving me the business, bro, for real. If you got enough energy and you got enough, something to you got enough. Fuck the money. You got something. You got leeway to do something. You can take the little bit you got and start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to do, figure out the bare minimum to start establishing some groundwork on what you want to do and start there. That's crash out action. I'm gonna start cultivating this thing. Maybe I'll start documenting this. I don't know, but I want to document this whole thing or cultivate a belief system around crash out action because I think that's what people, especially men, need. Because I think women crash out way more. They willing to expose themselves online, show their asshole, start an OnlyFans. Not a lot of them get rich, but a good amount of them do. Especially black women, they go get their fucking degrees and they don't give a fuck about niggas at all and shit like that. They be crashing out, dude. I hardly see any dudes out here crashing out on their action. I hardly see it, And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just the algorithm not feeding me nothing. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I wanted to talk about. Crash out action, man. I probably took too long on this video, and our thoughts is probably everywhere. I just be freestyling with this shit. You know what I'm saying? But crash out action, whatever you want to do, man. Especially if you go late 30s, early 40s, and shit like that. I'll be 40 in 3 years. I only did a few things I wanted to do and things like that. So that's my whole video right there. That's my whole thing. I'm trying to cultivate crash out action. Crash out action. And I'm going to start cultivating this a lot more as well as documenting it. Until then, I'll see y'all later.